Alright, in general, I'm actually not a box opening channel or a pack opening channel because I feel like that kind of content kind of drives people towards like a more of like the dark side of TCG collecting, where a lot of people, rather than opening it because they enjoy it, they open it for it almost turns into a sort of addiction and kind of gambling, where I'll probably talk about it at a different time. But today, as you see here, I actually had some store credits left from selling certain things. So I have 2 boxes here, and I actually have 1 more box coming from a different store. And I wanted to open them because last time, as you saw when I opened the trial deck display, I actually pulled the Rudy TDSP. I know it's not the Roxy, but I'm still super excited about it because I've actually never pulled a TDSP before. Every trial deck I've ever opened have all been duds. But yeah, it might not have seemed that way, but I'm actually super excited about the fact that I got the TDSP. And I don't really show it, I guess, because I feel like with a lot of pack opening contents, some people just kind of over exaggerate their reactions where they're just like falling off their chair, and then just I just can't really do that since it's not really me to kind of like fake my reactions. I also want to point out how insane it is when it comes to the prices of these booster boxes. On release, of course, it was really, really high because of the hype, and then it's like $90-ish, and then it dropped all the way down to 70, and some people are even selling for 60 something. When I actually picked up these 3 boxes, they were at like 60 and change. And then they slowly ramped up, and I guess when people started buying them out from the hype, now it's back to 90 to like $100. So you just want, I just find it kind of crazy, but you just want to kind of be aware about it because I think there's still some people that are getting leftover product and still haven't received it yet. So that kind of spills over into the single prices as well. And I don't really do market analysis. If you like market analysis, there's a channel called Big B, and he's actually does like a really good job on analyzing this stuff. And the one thing I always point out is just pretty much like the hype prices. I talked about the Roxy, and the prices are trending back down to 1300 because honestly, like, I still think 1300 is a little bit too high. If you have the money to buy it, go for it, but I really don't think it's worth that price. In the future, if you ever want TDSPs, you're probably better off just pre-ordering it. And then there's a lot of manipulation when it comes to these actually SP cards because most of these actually don't sell at all, especially like the Sylphie and the Rudy cards. Like, no one buys them. Even the Ghislaine cards, I don't think anyone really bought them until like the prices started dropping a lot. The Eris card, specifically the Eris SP and SSP, these cards I feel are definitely getting manipulated in price because pretty much the prices we're going for 200, which is normal for SP, right? Around 200 to 150 to 200. I expected it to peak at 250, but then this random sale for like 500 is very, very suspicious because all these other cards were also listed for like 450 to 500. So you just want to be aware about that. I would probably not recommend buying this card if you're interested in it and just kind of wait it out. I definitely don't think it's worth that $500 price tag. So just hang on and wait because I definitely feel like this card is definitely getting manipulated. One interesting tidbit I actually wanted to point out as well too is that these booster boxes are actually very, very tiny. You would think that they'd be really big, but they're actually really small. Look how small it is when you compare it to the size of a card.
Gay!
Alright, so let's just hope these polls are blessed and I actually have good luck with it. But in general, you always want to make sure, especially if you don't open packs often, that you have sleeves ready so that way you're not damaging your cards and whatnot. So you always just kind of want to be prepared with like top loaders and sleeves, especially if you plan to sell a lot of these singles. Alright. But yeah, I still can't go over how small these booster boxes are. Though, to be honest, I actually do prefer the previous format where the boxes look like tiny milk cartons. I think that actually looked a lot better. I always find it neat how, like, with booster boxes, you could have it kind of like displayed like as if you were in like a store. Let's let's get these packs out. And our promo cards to Eris. Yeah, in a store they would like fold these cards like this way. And then I guess they would just have like the booster packs inside. But for our purposes, let's just get this out of the way despite how cool the boxes look. But yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because with the new format, with the JP format, you have like a lot more chances of like rare cards because they have that one random slot, which is actually pretty interesting. All right, and in total we have 16 packs here, and I know some psychopaths, some of you psychopaths out there actually open with the pull tab. I actually don't like opening with the pull tab, and I actually just always end up using scissors to cut the top because I feel like when you use the pull tabs, a lot of people like they end up jamming it and hitting the corners of the cards, which I feel like will damage the cards. Maybe I'm just used to when I do like Yu-Gi-Oh openings and Pokemon openings where those cards just ding on the corners very, very easily, and I just don't feel comfortable opening it that way. So I'm just gonna end up speeding up the video and just like cutting up all these cards as I go along. Alright, so let's get to opening now that I've contributed to plastic waste in the world and killing some dolphins. Let's just see how the pulls go. Alright. So Ghislaine, Rudyard, Cringe. Okay. Sylphie. I can't get over how this card actually looks. In the Sunlight Rudy, rare. So I'll probably sleeve up everything afterwards. I'm actually keeping the booster backs because someone actually wanted to have these covers for their display, so I'm gonna send it to them. Eris, Horse Guy, Eris. I actually don't know how. Yes, with the new packs, they have the chance of actually having 2 foils in each of the packs, as opposed to before where you'd only get 1. But I actually don't know how this actually works when it comes to if the actual inside of the box itself is mappable. Because in certain card games, depending on certain sets, it was actually pretty mappable in some sets like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, where people are actually able to map certain sides of the booster boxes where you're guaranteed to get the actual rare card in certain slots. And I'm not really sure if that's a problem in Weiss Schwarz. So that's just one of those things you want to be aware of. When it comes to just card games, like, there's all sorts of these things going on. Oh, a Rudy SR. But that is... So, again, when it comes to, I guess, like, mapping these boxes, technically, if you get SR, it doesn't mean that you won't get a SP, but it's just something you want to be aware of, where someone could be like, oh, okay, I could pull the SP out of the box, and then they're gonna leave, like, the rest of the packs and sell them as single packs, which, out of all card games, most card games I probably don't recommend buying single packs, but especially with Weiss, I really don't recommend it. It's just so risky. Okay, another Roxy. But from what I heard, the deck for this is actually pretty playable, which is pretty cool. Although the manga and the anime, I don't think actually... I'm not sure how far the anime is. I've never actually watched it, but I know the manga has not finished yet. And that's one of those things you want to be careful of as well, too, because when it comes to these... when it comes to these mangas, like, they might start off good, but it might fall off towards the end, because it seems like most series, most people don't actually know how to finish them. Or if they ever finish at all, if you watch things like Hunter x Hunter. Okay. So far, might be a dud of a box. But still pretty nice to open these every once in a while. But in general, what I would probably recommend is if there are certain singles that you want, you're probably better off buying the singles, or else you're getting, some people might be really disappointed getting like a green guy, and he might not be the character that you want. So in the case that you bought multiple boxes and all you wanted was like a Roxy or Eris or something like that, or the Ghislaine, then you're probably would have been better off just buying the single and save yourself the headache and the money. As opposed to like when you're buying these like random loose boxes, there's a high chance that you're getting a box that's going to be mapped out. So just be aware about that. It's probably a good idea if you're opening these boxes, if you're getting these cards because you want them to build your deck and you actually play the game, then maybe. But even then, sometimes like you might be better off getting a playset. But if you really enjoy the series, sometimes you actually might just be better off buying maybe just like a case and saving up for a case. And that kind of plays into like, you know what, you kind of want to pick and choose what sets you really want, so that way like you're not buying into every set because it can get very, very, very expensive. Alright. So far, it might just be a box with just the SR Rudy. And I might have to sort the bulk later, so if there are certain singles that I am gonna sell. But yeah, I really don't get how some people actually open these by pulling the tabs. I feel like it's just, maybe it's like the OCD part of me where I feel like it's so easy to damage these cards. And it kind of really bothers me when there's just like edges that are whitened. Alright. Looks like this first box just had one SR. Unless we're gonna get something out of this last pack, which, nope. Alright, so I'm gonna open the next box and then we'll cut here. Alright, so I cleaned up everything, I sorted out all the cards, and I sleeved up everything. So these are probably the singles I'll probably end up selling. I'll cut the video off here and I'll do a second video on the second box a little bit later. So that way it doesn't make the videos too long. But so far, the first box was done. It's still fun opening them. But honestly, like unless like you're playing a deck and you really want to summon these cards, if you're purely, as I say these all the time, right? If you're purely trying to open these to profit, you're gonna have a bad time. Do not, because it's literally just like gambling, okay? But thank you for watching. Have a great day.